Hello, welcome back. So, it's an oldie. Yeah, the Tamiya Buggy Champ, or if you're old like me, Rough Rider. Yeah, it's a kit that I've always sort of been interested in, always wanted. And I've seen at Revival, a few people do race these, and it looks kind of fun. So this year, I decided this is what I'm going to hopefully get in with. So if you don't know how the Revival works, basically you'll put your first choice, second, third. So hopefully we get in with this. This is pretty much the reason why I bought it, other than the fact that I really want one. So for those of you that don't know what this is, it's basically the racing buggy, Buggy Champ, or like I say, the Rough Rider. It was first launched in November 1979. So this is basic. When this was released, I was 2 years old, running around, eating mud, whatever. But yeah, so originally it was released under kit number 58015. And yeah, it was called the Rough Rider. So due to whatever reason, it's now not called that. So licensing, it could be something new, because this was based on an original model, well, an original real car. So that could have been its name, and yeah, it's just not called that anymore. But I've no idea. I'm not going to delve into the who's, the what's, the whys, the where's, the whens. So yeah, so I know this had, I've had to write it down. So in July 2009, this had a re-release. Back then, I think it was, that would have been its 30-year anniversary, something like that. And then obviously, I know it was out this year, well, sorry, last year, but I do think that it was out after then. I think it's one of those models that it will keep coming out. It's got 2009 written on there as well, so I've got a feeling this is pretty much the same thing that came out in 2009. Part number was 58441. And the part number on this, 58441. Yeah, so nothing's changed. Obviously, on the original Rough Rider, all the decals would have been different, but obviously, like I say, due to the licensing laws and everything, they've had to change. So we're going to get it unboxed and we're going to have a look. So what I do know, I've had this open because I've had to get the instruction manual out to see what paint I'm going to need. Put that down there. You get all the lovely blister pack. Move round. So yeah, I absolutely love this. This is reminiscence of kits back in the days. A lot of the Kyosho kits, other than the last two that have come out, they've all got the lovely blister packaging. And it just gives you that nice little look when you pull it out. So you've got everything in there. So it comes with a standard 540 motor. I'm guessing it's going to be full bearings, and there is a lot of metal parts in this, so I've got a feeling it's going to be fairly heavy. It's not going to be a quick machine, but it's not meant to be. Up on the other side, you've got your tyres, you've got your gearbox halves, the universal joint shafts up on there. So I'm guessing that's like the waterproof covering. So obviously all your electrics will sit in there, so that'll keep it all protected and dry-ish. This one does come with the, I think it's the Drag Star, or it's basically the Hobby Wing ESC. That's going to be going in it. The kit motor's going to go in it for now, but I am going to put a sport tuned in. I think I'm not going to go mad with it because I really don't think it's going to be one for taking a lot of power. The hard body, that's why I've had to get the instruction manual out, because I need to know what paints I needed, what I'd need, etc. But like I said, this is going to get run, so I want it to look good, but it doesn't have to look absolutely immaculate. And then, guessing that's the rear motor guard. Another bit in there, bit of sponge, so that bit pops out. we'll find out where that goes when we build it. Wheels, so you've got the 3-piece style wheels, roof, driver figure, spotlights. The spotlights and the driver figure I'm not going to be fitting for now. Obviously the roof bit, I'm going to look at that because that gets painted black, and I think the body colour, which I'm going to try and find a fluorescent orange, so it's not going to be the box art orange, but it will be a similar orange to what I normally run. And then your stickers on there, so like I say, Bright Light, I'm sure they used to be like a branded name, Exact Springs, E-Back Springs, we all know what they really were. And then your last little box, even the box, and that's quite nice. So yeah, so you get some little action shots of the buggy in motion. Hopefully mine looks just as good. So you get your little whippy aerial and your normal aerial. Comes with an FRP top deck, so that big chunk of metal in there. And then bag wise, it's basically just bags of screws. Bag A, screws. Bag B, screws. Bag C, just screws and hardware. That'll be all the tubing for the frame. Back part, so that's a nice alloy part. All your servo parts. There's a little mod that I've seen for the servo, but we'll look at all that after. Bag D, oh, just lots of little screws. I don't know if that's showing up. Lots and lots of little screws. Wires. You can definitely tell this car's got some age to it. The shocks, so again, I don't know if these are oil filled. Your greases, Tamiya damping oil, your box wrench. Then the bumper, so the bumper, you get a nice stiff outer on there. Hopefully the bumper's going to have a bit of strength to it and it's not just going to snap. Gears in there, so I don't think this has a differential, and that's all the waterproofing. So yeah, we're going to build this up. It's going to be as box, so I'm not going to do a full build on it. I'll just do a quick little montage, and then hopefully we'll jump back and we'll have the buggy built. Right, so we're all pretty much unboxed. So I've done the usual. Bags tipped out, and like I was saying, it's just hardware, more hardware, little teeny tiny ones. So it's all bagged out. So obviously there's two different size pinions. So one is a 15 and a 20. So we're going to be going with the 20 anyway. But yeah, these are all, I feel like cast. But yeah, it's all laid out. So I'll be going through the instructions, starting on the build. So I'm guessing this is something to do with the chassis. Yeah, the tyres feel fairly good. Obviously there's only Tamiya on them for any writing. These ones you still get the sandblaster. I think originally the front tyres on the original one it had sandblaster on the side. Got all this still in its blister pack just so it's there. I know where it is. I can grab it all off. Servo saver in there, and that's got all the little rubber bits. I'll grab them out as and when I need them because I've run out of boxes. So let's get cracking. So got the instructions up here. And that's what we'll end up with. Obviously, body, I'll not be able to get the body on. Or, well, at least painted. So, yeah, so this looks like it's a solid axle. So you can get a ball diff upgrade for this. So I may look at doing it, but that's your build going through. Skipping some pages, then onto the body. So obviously it's TS, not PS paints that I need, so I'm going to get some ordered. But yeah, we'll have the buggy built and it'll be kind of running. So let's get cracking. So yeah, as I expected, this is going to be a solid. So first thing, when you're coming up to build this part here, you've got a long and a short side, which I'm guessing you want to make sure you get right. But when you put the bearings on, you can see you've got a much narrower gap there. That's a bigger gap. So definitely make sure you get that the right way around. Just slots on and then bearings. So all the bearings are the same size as well. So we'll carry on with the other parts. And then we should have a gearbox. Right, step one is done. So straight off the bat, with this one, that is one hefty lump. So you've got all your gears in there, got them all greased up. And one thing that did almost catch me out, obviously everyone knows you start your Tamiyas, you grab bag A. However, all these screws, your 18s, are all in bag B. Your little grub screws are in C. So, yeah, that got me a little bit at first, I'll admit. But we're now moving on to step two, attaching the rear arms. So, let's carry on. Right, so we're just going to jump on a quick one with getting these in. So, obviously, they're fitting in like that. And then you've got this little bush that it goes through, which is already on this rod. And then it clips in the back. You've got a little grub screw. Then on the back, it's just a little hinge. But what you've got to watch out for is that where your little grub screw's going on, focus, you need it going to that flat. So basically, as you're going through, you need to make sure that when you look through the hole, you're on the flat. If you're on the rounded part, you'll probably notice because it'll probably be a little bit more pronounced. But yeah, if you just, as you're sliding it through, make sure that you're pushing it through roughly where the flat is. If it's slightly off, as it tightens up, it will go back onto it. Obviously, the flat on the rod part, it's a lot smaller. Just give it a little coating, little coat of grease, and then it'll slot in. And that's basically your part of the torsion bar. So not mega amounts of travel, but we've got to remember this is a pretty old buggy. Right, so we're almost at the end of step 14. So all I've got to do, grease up, cover on. But before I do that, just going to jump in because it'll be easy to show. So on your motor mount, obviously we all know, put the motor in, screws from the front. This one doesn't. There are some little tabs on the inside in here. So where your motor sits in, and you've got your little screw holes, it just pops in. And I'm guessing that's all that holds it, because once this plastic cover goes on, technically that's all that's holding your motor in. So you've got to make sure it's orientated right. So you've got the longer standoffs on the bottom, the short one on the top. You'll know if it's wrong because basically your top ones are 12mm and then your bottoms are 18. So obviously you won't get that in there. But yeah, it was just a little bit, is that really how it goes? I jumped ahead of myself. I've done stage 5. So that's that all built, so that's all ready to go on. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump in, let you know about the motor. Obviously we've gone for the high speed gear sets. We've gone for the 65 tooth and the 20 tooth pinion. It doesn't tell you in the manual. It just says obviously they put it on, but it runs exceptionally close. So all I've done is basically just pulled it off a whisker, but it does mean that it's slightly off the spur, but otherwise it's pretty much rubbing right up against it. So we've got a little gap, but I don't know if it makes any difference running it right up, but I didn't want to do that because it just didn't seem right. But let's crack on. Right, step 6, the shocks. So there isn't a great deal to them, to be honest. You've got one little seal, the rest of it's spacers. These, your little pistons, they just have a little groove. These are the same front and rear, so it doesn't matter which way you put these on. But yeah, absolutely teeny. And again, your little end part just goes on with grub screw. Never seen that before, but saves you having to wind ball ends on. So we've got all them made. So we've got the alloy shock bodies. So we're going to get these filled up with oil. Go through it all. And then it looks like they get mounted in number 8. So let's carry on. Right, we're at the end of step 8. Rear shocks are on. One thing to note, I got this wrong. The front shocks are the longer ones. So yeah, it was easy to realise what I'd done wrong, but that's pretty much the only thing to watch out for. I don't think they're the best sealing shocks. They'll probably start leaking, but let's not forget how old this kit is, but I'm loving it. So moving on to 9, we're moving up, building the front, so let's get to it. End of step 11, and we have the front arms all assembled. So these little plastic bits, got the little ball studs in there, they just need popping in. It does say just to pop it in the bottom in there. I used some shock pliers, just hold it in one that's going to hold it. It just meant that you've actually got a good firm grip on the actual ball stud. So we just need to pop the spring into place. Goes just in between the two. Can he do it? Yes, done it in one. So obviously I need to still screw these in, but this isn't part of it, but won't really work too well until it's all bolted together, but we're getting there. So we've got those built now. So we're moving on to 12, which is getting all the front assembly done. Steering, front bumper, and then we need to start getting electrics done at step 16, sorry. So I'll build on through. We'll get to the point of getting the electrics in, and we'll see what she looks like. We're up to step 16 now, so I'll be taking a break here now, but basically this is where we are up to now. So it's looking awesome. I do absolutely love this thing. So there's nothing really to make you aware of on the steering. It's hard to see, but basically the nut that goes underneath this ball stud, it's recessed. So if you're just holding it and thinking, oh, it's not going to reach, it's recessed. On the front bumper, remove, it's basically, there's two little nubs that are round about sort of this position, there and there. They just get cut out. There's nowhere for them to go. It may be, that's probably something from the older original model. But yeah, this is where we're up to. So it's all looking good so far. So the next steps, obviously, it's power up the electrics, steering servo in, ESC in, receiver, all in the little tray. So it's this. This is actually, probably won't show up on camera actually, to be honest, but let's have a look. If we look at the gear cover, that's like a lot whiter. This has sort of like a yellow tint to it. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's the plastic that they've used, but I like it because it does give it that sort of older look to it rather than really bright shiny. But yeah, so we're all on to getting all this done up to 20. So when we jump back, we'll have all that in and we should be able to give it a quick little bench test, make sure everything's all right. Right, we have jumped the gun a little bit and this is where we're at now. So we've got all the front on. The electrics I've just fitted as it says, obviously no on-off switch up in there because of the ESC. But yeah, it's I don't know if this is meant to wobble. I'm guessing the body shell probably holds it on a little bit better. We've got the wheels on. First time with 3-part wheels, but yeah. Front suspension is moving. There is a lot of flex just on that, but again, we've got to remember how old this old girl is. Obviously, get a lovely bit of camera. What I have noticed, probably won't show up, that shock, it's weeping, so I'm going to pull that shock, have a look at it again. But yeah, obviously we've got no diff. I have got a diff coming. I've managed to find someone that had a ball diff that they wanted to get rid of, so we'll be able to have a diff in it. Yeah, the only thing that I did notice was the rear suspension was pretty tight, and basically all I did was just loosen off the little grub screw that holds it in there. I think it was that one, might have been the one on the drive shaft, but basically just loosened it, let the suspension drop, and then that was it, because obviously that's a fixed point. But yeah, it's all up and running. Obviously your battery, the foam bit goes, it's to run a 6-cell battery. So if we get or 5-cell, possibly even. So basically it says you've got to run this little battery pack. It just zip ties in, goes in there nicely. There's quite a bit of room in there, I think, so I'm going to see if I can get the LiPo to fit in there. We'll have a play around with that. So we're not going to have it up and running, obviously. Still got the body to do. So again, I'm probably going to buy another body and go completely off box art for the runner, because like I say, I do want to run this at Revival. So yeah, your servo just goes in with servo tape. There's no servo mounts, as you can see. I'll probably look at getting some servo mounts in there just to make it a bit more durable. I've got another ESC to go in. I've got one of the Hobby Wing 1040s, I think they are, or 1060s, that I've got 5mm connectors on so I can run it. But yeah, I absolutely love this thing. Obviously we're going to be putting a different motor. I mean, I don't know whether it's going to be wise, but we're going to do it. So that's it all done. So I just need to check on this, because like I say, that just sits on those bits in there. I'm pretty sure I've not missed anything out. But yeah, then the whole thing just comes apart. So you can get, I think you can get a carbon fibre chassis, which would probably eliminate some of the flex, but I don't think it's going to affect anything too much because of that's your front suspension. But we may upgrade the shocks on it. We may treat it, get it race ready, win the A final at Revival. But yeah, that's it all done. So your front tyres, they just have Tamiya on both sides. Your rears have sandblaster. But that's it all done. So cheers for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've got one of these and you've got any tips or tricks that you can give me on what will make it a little bit more pleasurable to drive, I suppose, when I'm at Revival, give me a shout. But yeah, next time we see this, we should have a painted body shell. All right, cheers guys.